Get your black ass out of our pool before I make you regret it. Officer Derek Hayes doesn't ask questions. He yanks Jordan Ellis out of the water by his arm, hard enough to leave bruises. Jordan stumbles onto hot concrete, barefoot, disoriented. His $3,000 leather bag flies through the air. Hayes catches it mid-flight and dumps everything onto the ground. Wallet splits open. Credit cards scatter. A phone cracks against pavement. This your pool? Hayes grinds his boot into Jordan's driver's license, the one showing 42 Lakewood Drive, Riverside Estates. Funny, I don't see trash like you live in here. Patricia Reynolds watches, arms crossed, victorious. Jordan's hands curl into fists, then slowly open. His breathing steadies. His face transforms, cold, unreadable, dangerous. He smiles. That smile means something these cops will never forget. 2 more officers arrive. Kyle Morgan, younger, nervous energy radiating from every movement. Sergeant Ryan Coleman, 20-year veteran with tired eyes that have seen this script play out too many times. Hayes keeps his hand on Jordan's shoulder, grip tight, possessive, controlling. Sir, we received a complaint about trespassing. Jordan's voice comes out level, controlled. I live here, 42 Lakewood Drive, 6 months now. He's lying. Patricia Reynolds steps forward. Designer tennis outfit, pristine phone clutched like evidence. I'm HOA president. I know every resident. He is not one of them. Jordan turns to face her directly. Recognition flickers across his features. Miss Reynolds, we've been at 3 HOA meetings together. I sit 2 rows behind you. Her face flushes red. That's not March meeting. You discussed pool maintenance budgets, April landscaping contracts, May security gate repairs. Jordan's tone stays surgical, precise. I voted yes on all 3 proposals. Silence. Hayes steps between them, breaking the moment. That doesn't prove you live here. Could have snuck into meetings. My identification is right there. Jordan points to the scattered contents of his wallet. Driver's license, property deed, HOA membership card. Morgan moves toward the items, hesitates. Derek. Maybe we should just... I'll handle this. Hayes picks up the driver's license, examines it like it might be counterfeit, holds it up to sunlight, turns it over. His disappointment is visible when everything checks out legitimate. Jordan watches him struggle with reality versus expectation. He's seen this cognitive dissonance before, the mental gymnastics people perform when their assumptions collide with facts. Address matches, Morgan says quietly. Everything's valid. Hayes' jaw tightens. Fake IDs exist. He could have stolen someone's identity. These people are sophisticated. These people Jordan's training kicks in. FBI tactics for de-escalation, emotional regulation, tactical patience. He catalogs every detail. Hayes' badge number 3025. The slight tremor in Morgan's hands. Coleman's expression that screams, I'm too old for this shit. But Jordan also catalogs something else. The pattern. The same pattern he's been documenting for 8 months. The same pattern that brought him to Riverside Estates undercover in the first place. Hayes' textbook. Predictable. Exactly the kind of officer Jordan was sent to find. Call property management. Jordan suggests they'll confirm my residency in 30 seconds. Don't tell me how to do my job. Hayes steps closer. Classic intimidation tactic, invading personal space. Jordan doesn't step back. Behind them, a woman pulls out her phone, starts filming. Jordan makes brief eye contact with her. A silent message passes between them. Keep recording. This matters. Hayes makes a decision that crosses every line he's sworn to protect. Turn around. Hands behind your back. Hayes unslings handcuffs from his belt. The metal glints in sunlight. Morgan's eyes widen. Derek, he's cooperating. He showed valid ID. Hands behind your back. Jordan's mind races. He could end this instantly. flash the federal badge hidden in his wallet, watch them scatter like roaches when lights turn on. But if he reveals now, he loses everything. 8 months of evidence, 8 months of documented patterns, 8 months of building a case that could dismantle systematic corruption. They're handing him the perfect test case. He decides, let them hang themselves? Jordan turns slowly, places his hands behind his back. The cuffs click shut. Too tight, deliberately painful. He doesn't flinch. Am I under arrest? What's the charge? Trespassing. Disorderly conduct. I've provided valid identification. I've complied fully. What conduct has been disorderly? Hayes leans close, breath hot. You can explain it to the judge. The woman filming moves closer. Hayes spins on her. Put that phone away or you're next. She doesn't lower it. This is public property. I have every right. Final warning. Coleman finally speaks, voice weary. Derek, his ID checks out. We should write him up for resisting. Hayes interrupts. He didn't resist. Morgan protests. Write him up. They parade Jordan past the pool, past his neighbors, past the landscaper who installed his garden last month, past people who know exactly who he is. No one speaks up. At the patrol car, Hayes grabs Jordan's head, shoves him into the back seat. Not the gentle academy technique, but an aggressive, punitive push designed to humiliate. Jordan's head hits the doorframe. Pain explodes. He still doesn't fight back. Inside, vinyl seats stick to wet skin. Handcuffs cut circulation. The humiliation is designed to break him, make him angry, give them justification. But Jordan Ellis doesn't break. He catalogs excessive force, false arrest, deprivation of rights under color of law, federal crimes, Title 18, USC Section 242. Hayes slides into the driver's seat, smirking at the rearview mirror. Should have been respectful. Jordan speaks calmly. Officer Hayes, badge 3825 for your body camera. I have not resisted. I have complied fully. This arrest is without probable cause. I want that very clear for the record. Hayes's smirk dies. The engine starts. Jordan watches his neighborhood disappear. A countdown begins that will destroy everything Hayes knows. Riverside County Police Station booking area fluorescent lights hum overhead. The death sergeant's area reeks of stale coffee and institutional resignation. Jordan stands barefoot in wet swim trunks, hands still cuffed, while Hayes parades him through the station like a trophy. Officers look up from paperwork. Some stare, others smirk, and caught him trespassing at Riverside Estates. Hayes announces to no one in particular, playing the race card, saying he lives there. Jordan's jaw tightens. He says nothing. Desk Sergeant Coleman, no relation to the Ryan at the scene, barely glances up. Name: Jordan Ellis. Address: 42 Lakewood Drive, Riverside Estates. Coleman pauses, finally looking at Hayes. That's the gated community. Yep. HOA president confirms she'd never seen him. Did his ID check out? Hayes hesitates. Yeah, but it could be fake. Coleman's expression shifts. 23 years on the force has taught him to smell political landmines. So, you arrested a resident for being at his own community pool. He looks suspicious. Suspicious. How? Silence. Coleman sighs, uncuffs Jordan. Circulation returns painfully to his wrists, red marks already forming into bruises. One phone call. They lead Jordan to an ancient payphone bolted to the wall. Hayes hovers 10 feet away, watching, listening. Jordan dials from memory. Not his lawyer, not his wife, his direct superior. Assistant Special Agent in Charge Denise Montgomery. 3 rings. Montgomery. Jordan's voice drops, measured and coded. ASAC, it's Agent Ellis. I'm at Riverside County Precinct, booked under false arrest. Hayes initiated. 2 seconds of silence that feel eternal then. Are you compromised? Negative. Cover intact. But the operation just accelerated. Do they know? Not yet. Keep it that way until I arrive. Document everything. Her voice softens slightly. Jordan, are you okay? It's the first time anyone has asked. Jordan exhales slowly. I will be when this is finished. 30 minutes. Don't reveal until I'm physically present. Understood. He hangs up. Hayes smirks. Lawyer. Something like that. Holding cell. 10 minutes later, Jordan sits on a cold metal bench. 4 other men occupy the space. 1 drunk and snoring. 2 sleeping off whatever landed them here. 1 watching Jordan with recognition. Hey man, the 4th guy whispers. I seen you? You're that tech dude from Riverside, right? Big house on Lakewood. Jordan nods once. Damn, they really arrested you for what? Swimming while black. The man laughs bitterly. Same, different day. You got a good lawyer? Better. Jordan's smile is faint. Dangerous. He leans back against concrete wall, closes his eyes, not resting, strategizing. The plan was always to gather evidence systematically, coordinate with Civil Rights Division, take down the network through proper channels. Now they've forced his hand, accelerated the timeline. He thinks about his daughter Claire, 12 years old, asking why Daddy has to pretend to be someone else for work. His answer, so people like you don't have to. He thinks about every person who can't flash a federal badge, every citizen who experiences this nightmare without recourse, his neighbors, his community, the vulnerable. This is why he does this work. Not for himself, for them. Jordan opens his eyes, checks the wall clock. 23 minutes since his call. 23 minutes until everyone in this precinct learns the man they humiliated has been hunting them for 8 months. And when the truth drops, careers will explode like grenades. Interrogation room. 15 minutes later, Hayes enters alone. Protocol violation should have a partner present. He slaps a folder on the metal table, sits across from Jordan with the confidence of a man who's never faced real consequences. Let's talk about how you really got into Riverside Estates. Jordan, now wearing an issued orange jumpsuit, stays silent. See, I've been doing this 12 years. I know when someone's running a con. Hayes leans back, chair creaking. Identity theft, fraud. What's your angle? I bought my house. 2.1 million cash last December. Hayes laughs. Right. And where does a guy like you get that kind of money? A guy like you. Jordan's expression doesn't change. He's heard every variation of this conversation. But now he's documenting it. Every word, every implication, every assumption. Officer Hayes, how many black residents live in Riverside Estates? What's that got to do with humor, me? Hayes's jaw works. I don't keep track of demographics. 7 families out of 230 homes, 3%. I'm number 7. Jordan's tone stays surgical. You've worked this area 5 years. Ever been called to the pool for a white resident? Silence. Ever arrested a white homeowner for swimming in their own community? That's not ever handcuffed a white man based solely on an HOA president's suspicion. Hayes stands abruptly, chair scraping concrete. You think you're smart, talking like a lawyer, throwing around statistics doesn't change the fact you're sitting in that jumpsuit for now. What's that supposed to mean? Jordan looks directly at Hayes. Through him, really, it means every action has consequences. Every choice creates ripples. Your choices today will define your tomorrow. Is that a threat? It's a fact. Hayes's hand hovers near his radio, uncertainty flickering across his features. He's used to intimidation working, used to people breaking down, confessing, begging. Jordan does none of those things. The door opens. Coleman sticks his head in. Hayes. Captain wants you now. Something in Coleman's tone sends alarm through Hayes's expression. A frequency only cops recognize. the "you're in serious" frequency. Hayes stares at Jordan, suspicion finally dawning. "Who are you?" Jordan smiles, says nothing. Hayes exits quickly, leaving Jordan alone in the interrogation room. He looks up at the two-way mirror, knowing someone is watching from the other side. He checks the clock on the wall. 28 minutes since his phone call. 2 minutes until ASAP Montgomery arrives. 2 minutes until this entire station learns that the man they arrested, humiliated, and paraded through their building isn't a random black man at the wrong pool. He's the federal agent who's been investigating them for 8 months, and they just gave him everything he needed. Jordan allows himself a small, cold smile. Checkmate. The captain's urgent summons means someone made a very important phone call. Captain's office behind closed doors. Captain Stephen Burgess stares at his computer screen like it's a live grenade. Hayes enters Morgan behind him. "Close the door," Burgess says quietly. Hayes does. Cap. The guy from the pool is full of "sit down." The tone stops Hayes mid-sentence. Both officers sit. Burgess spins his monitor around. "In the last 15 minutes, I received 3 phone calls. First, the mayor's office. Second, county executive. Third, someone from the Department of Justice." Morgan's face drains of color. All 3 calls about Jordan Ellis. Hayes tries to maintain composure. "Sir, we responded to a legitimate complaint. Shut up and listen." Burgess pulls up records. Jordan Ellis, age 42. Address confirmed. 42 Lakewood Drive. Purchased December 2024 for $2.1 million, paid in full. 0 criminal record, not even a parking ticket. The HOA president said she'd never. I don't care what a civilian said. Burgess's voice rises. "You arrested a man for living in his own neighborhood." Hayes's confidence cracks. This isn't how it works. Usually the department circles wagons, protects their own. But Burgess is sweating, nervous. "That's wrong," Burgess continues, voice dropping. "Do you know who Jordan Ellis is? Some tech consultant? That's his cover story. The word cover lands like a bomb. Ellis's employment record is flagged federal level. I can't access details without security clearance I don't have." Burgess rubs his face. But whoever he is, he's connected high enough that the Deputy Attorney General's office is personally monitoring his arrest. Hayes's stomach drops. Federal like FBI. The system won't tell me. It just says classified employment federal jurisdiction. Burgess stands paces. "But I can tell you this. Normal citizens don't have the Deputy AG making phone calls within 20 minutes of booking." Morgan speaks for the first time, voice shaking. "Derek, I told you something felt off." "Not now." Hayes snaps. Burgess points at Hayes. "You will write a detailed report of every action you took, every word you said. Document the HOA president's exact statements, and pray. Pray that whatever federal scrutiny lands on this department doesn't end both your careers." A knock. Coleman cracks the door open. "Captain, federal agent here. ASA Denise Montgomery, FBI. She's asking for Jordan Ellis." The office goes silent. She brought attorneys and someone from Civil Rights Division. Burgess's voice comes out hollow. "Show her to holding." Hayes's hands start trembling. 30 FT away, Jordan hears footsteps approaching that change everything. Holding cell area ASIC. Denise Montgomery strides through the precinct like she owns it. Black woman 50 years old, FBI credentials hanging from her neck. Power suit, immaculate. Behind her, 2 agents in tactical gear, 2 attorneys carrying briefcases, and a supervisor from the Civil Rights Division. Every cop in the room straightens involuntarily. She walks directly to Jordan's cell. Coleman fumbles with keys, hands shaking, unlocks it. Jordan stands. "ASEC Montgomery, Agent Ellis." She assesses him. Orange jumpsuit, bare feet, red marks on his wrists. Her expression hardens to stone. Status cover intact until now. Hayes initiated. Reynolds instigated. Montgomery nods once, then turns to Coleman. Where are the arresting officers? Captain's office. Ma'am, get them now. I also need surveillance footage from the community pool. Body camera footage from both arresting officers. All booking documentation and the incident report. You have 10 minutes. Coleman practically runs. One of Montgomery's agents hands Jordan a bag. His clothes, shoes, wallet. Jordan changes quickly while Montgomery's team sets up in the booking area like they're claiming territory. Captain's office. The door opens. Burgess looks like he's aged 10 years. They want you downstairs. Hayes's hands tremble as he stands. Morgan follows, looking like he might vomit. They descend the stairs in silence, enter the booking area, and freeze. Jordan stands next to ASIC Montgomery, no longer in jumpsuit. Crisp, dark slacks, button-down shirt, leather shoes, federal credentials now visible around his neck. Hayes stops breathing. Jordan pulls his badge case from his pocket, opens it slowly, deliberately. The gold shield catches fluorescent light. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Special Agent Jordan Ellis, Public Corruption Unit. Morgan's knees buckle. He grabs the wall for support. Jordan's voice, still calm but now carrying federal authority, fills the space. Officer Derek Hayes, badge 3125. Officer Kyle Morgan, badge 4163. I am Special Agent Jordan Ellis, FBI. For the past 8 months, I have conducted an undercover investigation into civil rights violations, abuse of authority, and systemic misconduct within the Riverside County Police Department. Hayes tries to speak. Nothing comes out. This afternoon's incident, my unlawful arrest, use of excessive force, and detention without probable cause, has been documented and will be included in my official report to the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Montgomery steps forward. Gentlemen, you're not under arrest yet, but as of this moment, you are subjects of a federal investigation. I strongly recommend you contact your union representative, but the badge is only the beginning of their nightmare. Conference room. 20 minutes later, Jordan sits at the head of the table, his table now. Montgomery, 2 civil rights attorneys, Captain Burgess, shell-shocked, and the county executive hastily summoned fill the remaining seats. Jordan opens his laptop projects onto the screen. For 8 months, I've lived as Jordan Ellis, tech consultant. My actual assignment? Investigate patterns of discriminatory policing, excessive force, and civil rights violations in this jurisdiction. He clicks. Photos of Hayes appear at traffic stops, at the precinct, at community events. Officer Derek Hayes, 15 years service. 13 documented complaints, all buried or dismissed by internal affairs. 8 involved racial profiling. 3 involved excessive force. 0 resulted in discipline. Burgess's face turns gray. He's watching his department get autopsied in real time. Jordan clicks again. Timeline appears. April 2024, Hayes stops 3 black teenagers walking home from school, claims suspicious behavior. No charges. May 2024, Hayes arrests a black nurse leaving night shift, claims she matched a description. Charges dropped. June 2024, Hayes conducts illegal vehicle search on a black attorney. Evidence suppressed. Outside the conference room, Morgan sits alone in the hallway, spiraling. His career just ended. His pension gone, his wife, his kids, his mortgage. How does he explain this? And Jordan's words echo. I told you something felt off. He knew on some level. He always knew. Inside the conference room, Jordan continues. Body camera footage obtained via federal subpoena. He plays a montage. Hayes escalating a traffic stop unnecessarily. Hayes planting evidence during a search. Hayes falsifying reports. The civil rights attorney leans forward. Agent Ellis, how did you become today's target? Patricia Reynolds, HOA president. I've attended 3 meetings in 6 months. She never acknowledged my presence. Today, she sees me at the pool, my community, and immediately calls 911. Another slide. Reynolds' profile. 14 police calls in 2 years. 11 involve people of color. 0 resulted in actual crimes. She weaponizes law enforcement to enforce personal bias. Montgomery interjects. Hayes could have de-escalated. He chose escalation. Worse, he arrested Agent Ellis knowing the ID was legitimate. That's federal criminal conduct. The county executive realizes the implications. Agent Ellis, what does the Bureau intend? I'm recommending a consent decree, federal oversight of this department, independent review board, body camera policies with actual teeth, and a complete audit of every arrest Hayes made in 5 years. Burgess opens his mouth. Jordan cuts him off. Your assurances mean nothing. Captain Hayes had 13 complaints. He's still on patrol. That ends today. And the evidence Jordan collected will burn everything to ash. What would you do in Jordan's position? Reveal early, or wait for the perfect moment. Comment below and subscribe for the epic ending. Montgomery stands gathering files. As of this moment, Officer Hayes is suspended pending federal investigation. Officer Morgan is suspended pending investigation. Patricia Reynolds will be interviewed regarding her pattern of false reports. This department is officially under FBI scrutiny. She pauses at the door. Agent Ellis will remain in his residence as both resident and federal witness. Any retaliation against him will be considered felony obstruction of justice, Jordan adds quietly. I'll be at the pool tomorrow. My pool swimming like every other resident. The room empties slowly. Everyone stunned. Montgomery and Jordan stand alone. She touches his shoulder. You okay? He exhales. 8 months of tension releasing. I will be. What you did today, letting them arrest you, building the perfect case, that took guts or stupidity. No, she smiles. Faith that the system can still work sometimes. Jordan's home. That evening, his wife, Dr. Vanessa Ellis, waits in scrubs from her hospital shift. Pride and fury wore across her face. 8 months, you pretended. Today, I watched my husband get arrested on a neighbor's Instagram story. Jordan sits heavily. I couldn't tell you. Operational security, I know the rules. Her voice cracks, but Claire saw it. She's 12. She watched her father handcuffed and humiliated. Do you know what that does to a child? Jordan's composure breaks. That's why I had to do this. So when she's 20, 30, 40, maybe she won't watch her own kids go through it. Vanessa traces the bruises on his wrists. Promise me something. Next time you go undercover, remember you're not just an agent. You're a father and husband. We need you alive, not heroic, I promise. Upstairs, Claire's door opens. She descends slowly. Daddy, if you didn't have your badge, her voice trembles, would you still be in jail? The question breaks him because the answer is probably yes instead. That's why I do this job, sweetheart. So people without badges don't have to be scared. So rules apply equally even to police. Did you arrest the bad cop? Not yet, but I will. She hugs him tight. Good. He was mean to you. Riverside Estates emergency HOA meeting 3 days later. 200 residents pack the community center. The room divides like a fault line. A white resident stands. This is blown out of proportion. Patricia made a mistake. Jordan interrupts calmly. Sir, this wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. I was number 11. 11 times she called police on people of color. White residents, 0 calls. An elderly black woman rises, voice shaking. I've lived here 15 years. Security stopped me 5 times asking if I belong here. My white neighbors never. We stayed quiet because what choice did we have? Now someone with power speaks. Thank God. The HOA board votes. Patricia Reynolds removed. New non-discrimination policy. Mandatory dialogue sessions. 3 new board members elected. All people of color. One white resident approaches Jordan. After I'm ashamed, I didn't notice. What can I do? Notice from now on. Speak up. Use your voice because not everyone has a federal badge. FBI Field Office. 1 week later, Jordan reviews his investigation with Montgomery and the civil rights supervisor. Hayes is the crown jewel, Jordan explains, but he's not alone. 4 other officers show similar patterns. 2 supervisors buried complaints. The entire internal affairs process is designed to protect, not investigate. The supervisor nods. We're pursuing a consent decree. Federal oversight minimum 5 years. It's not enough. Jordan says it's a start. Montgomery pulls up new files. Your work here is done, but we have 3 other departments showing similar patterns. Cleveland, Phoenix, Atlanta. We're forming a task force, national scope. You'd lead it. Jordan thinks of Vanessa's words. You're not just an agent, you're a father. But he also thinks of every person who can't flash a badge, every citizen experiencing this without recourse. I'm in, he says, but I need one thing. Name it. Hayes' trial. I want to testify. I want to look him in the eye when justice gets served. Montgomery smiles. Wouldn't have it any other way. That night, the pool Jordan floats in the same water where this started. But it feels different now. Lighter. A neighbor waves. Another joins him swimming. A third asks about his day. Small victories. Invisible progress. But progress nonetheless. He thinks about the people he'll never meet. The ones who won't be pulled over unjustly because an officer watched training video. The ones who won't be arrested because a department implemented reforms. The ones who will swim in their own pools without fear. That's the real work. Invisible victories. Moments that don't happen because systems changed. Hayes' reckoning is coming, and it will be biblical. Week 1. Media firestorm. Local news breaks the story at 6 p.m. FBI agent arrested while swimming in his own community. Federal investigation launched. Within 24 hours, it's national. Jordan's phone explodes. CNN wants an interview. Washington Post assigns their top team. Civil rights organizations issue statements. Social media erupts. Hashtags trend worldwide. Simming, while black, Sagrasser federal badge, earn justice for Jordan. Former colleagues reach out. High school friends send messages. This happened to me too. Thank you. Each message represents a wound someone carried silently for years. Jordan makes a calculated decision. 1 interview, 60 minutes. Primetime Sunday. Correspondent. Agent Ellis, what did you feel when Officer Hayes handcuffed you? Jordan? Familiar? I've been black in America for 42 years. I've been stopped before, followed in stores, watched by security. This wasn't shocking. It was just another Tuesday. The difference this time was I had power to do something about it. Correspondent. Why didn't you reveal your identity immediately, Jordan? Because my experience is what millions face daily. They don't have badges to flash. They endure it, survive it, try to explain to their children why police treated them like criminals. I needed to document that complete reality, and now we're using it to change the system. The interview generates 14 million views in 48 hours. Patricia Reynolds, The Instigator's Reckoning. Reynolds hires a crisis PR firm within 6 hours. $20,000 utterly wasted. Her social media gets bombarded. Death threats arrive. She deactivates everything within 36 hours. Jordan issues a statement condemning threats. We fight injustice with accountability, not violence. The FBI summons her for interview. 2 agents, 1 attorney, cameras recording. Agent Morris, Miss Reynolds, you stated Agent Ellis didn't belong. What specifically made you believe that? Reynolds, I'd never seen him before. Agent Morris, he attended 3 HOA meetings, sat 2 rows behind you, participated in discussions, voted on proposals you led, yet you claimed never seeing him. Explain that. Silence. Agent Morris, how many white residents have you called 911 on in 2 years? Reynolds, I don't keep track. Agent Morris, 0. We've documented 14 calls you made. 11 involve people of color. 0 resulted in actual crimes. Explain that pattern. Reynolds, I was keeping the community safe. Agent Morris, safe from homeowners using their own pool. She has no answer that won't incriminate her. The HOA board convenes emergency session. Vote to remove Reynolds is unanimous. 3 board members resign, claiming ignorance, but Jordan's investigation uncovered their emails discussing property values and neighborhood character. Coded language documented for prosecutors. The lawsuit. Jordan doesn't need the money. He files anyway. Symbolic necessary. $10 million against Riverside County Police Department, Hayes, Morgan, and Reynolds. Allegations: false arrest, civil rights violations, assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The county's insurance carrier reviews evidence, body camera footage, Jordan's credentials, Hayes's 13 complaints over 5 years, Reynolds's 911 history. They calculate coldly. Settlement within 10 days, $4.22 million. Jordan holds press conference on courthouse steps. This was never about personal enrichment. It's about consequences for abuse of authority. He donates every penny. Half to NAACP Legal Defense Fund, half to Innocence Project. Money can't undo humiliation, Jordan tells cameras. But it can fund legal representation for people who can't afford it. It can support organizations fighting wrongful convictions. It can drive systemic reform. That's the real victory. Officer Kyle Morgan, the enabler's choice. Morgan requests FBI meeting within 1 week. He arrives with a public defender. Union refused private counsel. He offers complete cooperation. His testimony makes prosecutors smile. Hayes pressured him repeatedly to falsify reports. Hayes joked constantly about cleaning up neighborhoods and taking out trash. Everyone understood the racist coding. Most damning, Hayes kept a notebook listing problem residents with addresses, vehicle descriptions, movement patterns. Morgan hands over the notebook. Every page represents civil rights violations. The deal comes immediately. Cooperation, testimony, resignation, permanent policing ban, no federal charges. Morgan accepts. Career over at 32, prison avoided. His resignation letter leaks. I was trained to enforce the law. Instead, I became complicit in breaking it. I failed Jordan Ellis. I failed every citizen who trusted me. I have no excuse. Morgan's wife, Sarah, reads it, tears streaming. Mortgage due in 2 weeks. No income, depleting savings. She's angry, hurt, betrayed. But underneath, he finally chose justice over comfort, not redemption, barely penance. But maybe over years it becomes more. Department of Justice systemic intervention. The Civil Rights Division audits the entire department. 100 federal agents descend, examining every arrest, complaint, promotion over 5 years. Findings devastate credibility. 128 complaints dismissed without investigation. 89% of force incidents involve people of color. Community is 40% POC. 0 officers disciplined for bias complaints in 8 years. Body camera footage missing in 34 critical incidents. Promotions favored arrest numbers regardless of complaints. The DOJ announces consent decree. Federal oversight for minimum 5 years. Requirements transform everything. Independent Civilian Review Board with subpoena power will oversee complaints. Officers must complete quarterly bias training with testing. Complaint process gets overhauled with external oversight. Body cameras must stay on during all interactions. Tampering means suspension. Community policing initiatives tracked monthly. Department must meet diversity hiring mandates. Early intervention system will flag officers with misconduct patterns. Monthly public reports must detail stops and arrests by demographics. Captain Burgess retires officially for family. Actually forced out. 4 supervisors demoted to patrol. 2 transferred to desk jobs with 0 public contact. Internal affairs disbanded, rebuilt with civilian oversight. Financial consequences. Hayes suspended without pay. Faces 10 years federal prison. Wife files for divorce. House enters foreclosure. His face becomes synonymous with racist policing. Reynolds pays $50,000 personally, ostracized from community, moves to Arizona within 3 months, reputation destroyed, unemployable. Riverside County PD pays $4.2 million settlement, $800,000 compliance costs, $1.2 million retraining. Insurance premiums skyrocket 300%, recruiting plummets 70%. Jordan promoted to supervisory special agent, leads national task force on policing reform. Speaking fees generate $400,000 annually, all donated to civil rights organizations. National dialogue. Jordan testifies before Senate Judiciary Committee. C-SPAN broadcasts live. Senator Williams. Agent Ellis, explain your decision to allow arrest instead of immediately revealing identity. Jordan, Senator, millions experience what I did, except they don't have badges offering salvation. They endure it, survive it, pray it doesn't escalate. I chose to bear complete witness. Now we're transforming that documentation into change. Senator Davis. Does Hayes represent law enforcement generally? Jordan. No. Most officers serve honorably. My father wore a badge 30 years, full honors, 0 complaints. But systems protecting bad officers by burying complaints and promoting based solely on arrests. Those systems enable the Hayeses. When good officers stay silent about bad officers, they become complicit. We need accountability, not hatred of police. That's basic professionalism. The testimony generates 12 million views, becomes required viewing in police mice across 38 states. Personal cost. Jordan pays invisible prices. Claire develops acute anxiety around police. Sees a cruiser. Her breathing accelerates. 6 months of twice-weekly therapy before she can see a uniform without panic. Vanessa carries 8 months of operational lies, necessary but distancing. Trust rebuilds slowly through couples therapy and painful conversations about deception and duty and the cost of justice. Their marriage survives, emerges stronger, maybe, but scarred in ways that never fully heal. One quiet night, 3 months after the arrest, Claire asks, "Daddy, was it worth it? All the bad stuff that happened to you to us?" Jordan thinks carefully before answering. "Sweetheart, sometimes doing the right thing costs us something. Sometimes it costs us a lot. But if we only do what's comfortable, what's easy, nothing ever changes. People keep getting hurt unnecessarily over and over in the same ways. The question isn't whether fighting for justice is comfortable. The question is whether it's necessary. So it was worth it. Ask me in 20 years when you have children of your own, and they can swim in any pool they want, walk any street they choose, exist in any space without anyone questioning whether they belong there based on skin color. Then I'll know definitively if the price we paid was worth it." She hugs him tight, fierce and protective. "I think it already is, Daddy. I really think it already is. But settlements are just paper. Hayes's criminal trial will deliver the real reckoning." Federal Courthouse. 6 months later, Officer Derek Hayes sits at the defense table. Suit ill-fitting, face gaunt. 6 months of legal hell have aged him a decade. His attorney, public defender, union refused funding. Whispers last-minute strategy. The gallery packs beyond capacity. Jordan sits 3rd row. Federal credentials visible. Media fills overflow rooms. Federal Judge Lorraine Fisher presides. Black woman, 68, legendary for no-nonsense courtroom. She reviews the charges. Derek Hayes, you are charged with deprivation of rights under color of law. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 242, specifically false arrest, excessive force, violation of 4th and 14th Amendment protections. How do you plead? Hayes's attorney stands not guilty, Your Honor. The trial lasts 3 days. The evidence is overwhelming. Day 1, prosecution's case. Body camera footage plays on monitors. The gallery watches Hayes yank Jordan from water, dump his belongings, grind his boot into Jordan's driver's license, shove him into the patrol car. The audio is damning. Hayes on video. Should have just been respectful. Jordan on video. Officer Hayes, badge 3000 tort. Drive. I have not resisted. This arrest is without probable cause. The jury, 7 white, 3 black, 2 Latino, watches in silence. FBI agent testifies. Subject Hayes demonstrated clear discriminatory enforcement pattern. Of 89 arrests over 3 years, 71 involved people of color. District demographics show 40% POC, expert witness from Georgetown. This statistical disparity cannot be explained by chance. It represents systematic racial targeting. Day 2. Character witnesses. Prosecution calls 5 previous victims. Each tells similar stories. Stopped without cause. Treated aggressively. Charges dropped. A Latina nurse, 60 years old, breaks down testifying. He told me I looked like a drug dealer. I was wearing scrubs with my hospital ID visible. I just finished 12 hours in the ICU saving lives. He made me sit on the curb 90 minutes while he searched my car. Found nothing. Never apologized. Her voice cracks. The jury leans forward. Jordan testifies. Calm, factual, devastating. Prosecutor. Agent Ellis. Did Officer Hayes have probable cause? Jordan. No. Prosecutor. Did you resist? Jordan. No. Prosecutor. What motivated Hayes's actions? Jordan. Bias. Unchecked authority. And the belief reinforced by years of departmental protection that he'd face no consequences. Defense tries rattling Jordan on cross-examination, suggests he was playing victim by not immediately identifying as federal agent. Jordan's response devastates. I was documenting what millions without federal credentials experience daily. If the only way to avoid unlawful arrest is FBI authority, we don't have equal justice. We have a 2-tiered system based on power. The jury nods. Day 3, defenses collapse. Hayes takes the stand against his attorney's advice. He thinks he can charm the jury. He can't. Prosecutor. Officer Hayes. When you saw Agent Ellis at the pool, what was your first thought? Hayes. That he looked suspicious? Prosecutor. What specifically was suspicious? His designer swim trunks? His monogram towel? Hayes. He just didn't look like he belonged there. Prosecutor. Because he's black. Hayes. No, it wasn't about race. A prosecutor. Then what? He had valid ID proving residency. He was using a pool he pays to maintain. He was in his own neighborhood. So what specifically made you decide he didn't belong? The trap closes. Hayes. I don't know. It's the only honest thing he says all day. It condemns him completely. Verdict. 3 hours later. Jury returns. 4-person stands. On the charge of deprivation of rights under color of law, we find the defendant guilty. Hayes crumples forward. His mother in the gallery sobs loudly. Sentencing. 2 weeks later, Judge Fisher removes her glasses, addresses Hayes directly. Mr. Hayes, you were given a badge and a gun. You were entrusted with extraordinary authority over citizens' lives. You were sworn to protect and serve without prejudice. Instead, you weaponized that authority against the very people you were supposed to protect. Your actions didn't just harm Agent Ellis. They undermined public trust in every honorable officer doing this job with integrity. She pauses. This court sentences you to 8 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years supervised release. You are permanently barred from law enforcement employment. You will participate in racial bias counseling as condition of release. Hayes is let out in handcuffs, the same handcuffs he put on Jordan 6 months ago. Outside, reporters swarm Jordan. He makes a brief statement. Today, justice was served. But one conviction doesn't fix a broken system. The real work, reforming departments, changing culture, holding leadership accountable, that work continues. This verdict is one step. We need 10,000 more. Hayes's conviction sends shockwaves through law enforcement nationwide, sparking changes nobody saw coming. National ripple effects. 1 year later, Hayes's conviction becomes case law, cited in 48 subsequent federal civil rights cases. The precedent is clear. Officers cannot claim "I thought they looked suspicious" as justification for rights violations. Police me's nationwide. The FBI develops training module The Ellis Case when bias becomes federal crime. Mandatory viewing atemis in 38 states. The module includes body camera footage, testimony excerpts, psychological breakdown of implicit bias. A recruit in Florida watches, turns to his instructor. "So, we can't just trust our gut." Instructor's response is sharp. "Your gut is trained by your experiences, your culture, your biases." Hayes saw Ellis and assumed criminality because he associated black men with threat. That's not instinct, that's prejudice. Learn the difference or find another profession. The message lands hard. Legislative movement Congress passes the Law Enforcement Accountability Act of 2026. Bipartisan, shocking everyone. Key provisions: a national database tracking officers with sustained complaints. Previously fired officers simply moved to other departments. Now complaint histories follow them nationwide. Federal funding ties to training compliance. Whistleblower protections strengthen for officers reporting misconduct. Independent investigation becomes mandatory for in-custody deaths. It's imperfect. Advocates wanted more. Police unions fought every clause, but it's measurable progress. Jordan's new role promoted to Assistant Special Agent in Charge, FBI Civil Rights Division. Jordan leads 45 agents investigating systemic law enforcement misconduct nationwide. His mandate: find the patterns, stop them before they become tragedies. In 18 months, his unit investigates 23 departments, secures 9 consent decrees, trains 12,000 officers, and prevents impossible to quantify, but they believe countless similar injustices. Community impact Riverside Estates. The community transforms. New HOA board partners with local NAACP for quarterly dialogues. They create inclusive community initiative. Mentorship programs pairing longtime residents with new families of color. Property values increase 15%. Positive press as reformed inclusive community attracts buyers. Rita Shepard, new HOA president, launches Know Your Neighbor programs. Residents share meals, stories, cultures, small steps, real change. Jordan still swims at the pool every Sunday. Now neighbors wave. Some apologize for previous silence. Some swim alongside him. His daughter Claire brings friends, diverse kids who see the pool as just a pool, not a battleground. Officer Kyle Morgan, redemption attempt. Morgan can never be a cop again. He volunteers at youth center in underserved neighborhood, teaching teenagers their rights during police encounters. "Why should we trust you?" one 16-year-old asks. "You were part of the problem." Morgan doesn't flinch. "You shouldn't trust me, but maybe learn from my mistakes." I stayed silent when I should have spoken. I followed orders I knew were wrong. I chose comfort over courage. Don't be me. Be better than me. It's not redemption, it's penance. Maybe over years it becomes atonement. Media landscape. The story spawns a documentary, 2 books, countless think pieces. Some critics claim Jordan played the victim card. Others canonize him as hero. Jordan rejects both narratives. I'm just a federal agent who did his job. The real heroes are people who face this discrimination daily without badges to protect them, without media coverage, without settlements. They're the ones we're fighting for. That's heroism. But systemic change is generational work. Jordan knows one victory doesn't erase centuries. 18 months after the arrest, Sunday afternoon, Jordan Ellis sits at his pool, the same pool where everything changed. But the water feels different now, lighter somehow. His wife, Vanessa, reads beside him, medical journal in lap, occasionally glancing up to watch their daughter. Claire splashes in the shallow end with 3 friends, a rainbow coalition of kids who don't see color. Just friendship, just summer, just being 12 years old. Jordan closes his eyes, lets the sun warm his face. He thinks about Derek Hayes sitting in federal prison cell number 42 in Coleman Correctional. 8 years. Jordan feels no triumph in that, just a quiet, necessary justice. He wonders if Hayes has reflected, learned, changed. Probably not. Some people never do. He thinks about Patricia Reynolds, who moved to Arizona and, according to social media, hasn't learned anything either. Some battles you win, some people you can't save from themselves. He thinks about Kyle Morgan, who sent a letter last month, 3 pages, handwritten, apologizing again. Jordan still hasn't responded. He's not ready. Maybe someday he will be. Maybe not. Some wounds take longer to process than others, but mostly Jordan thinks about the people he'll never meet. The ones who won't be pulled over unjustly because an officer watched the training video and paused before acting on bias. The ones who won't be arrested because a department implemented real reforms with teeth. The ones who will swim in their own pools, walk their own streets, exist in their own spaces without fear. That's the real work. Invisible victories. Moments that don't happen because systems changed. Vanessa looks up from her journal. You're brooding, reflecting. Same thing with you. She smiles. But it's your heroic, brooding face, so I'll allow it. I'm not a hero, Jordan. She sets the journal aside. You let yourself be arrested to build a case that changed law enforcement policy nationwide. That's pretty hero-adjacent. I was just doing my job. Your job could have been desk work. You chose to live undercover for 8 months to endure humiliation, to risk everything, because you believe systems can be better. That's heroism, whether you call it that or not. Claire cannonballs into the pool, splashing them both. They laugh. Normal family moment. Hard one. And precious. Mr. Whitman, elderly white neighbor and original resident, walks past. Jordan, water looks perfect today. It is. Want to join? Maybe later. Hey, my grandson's visiting next month. Thinking about law enforcement. Could he talk with you? Jordan hesitates. His instinct is privacy. Low profile. But then he thinks about all the officers who need better role models, better training, better understanding of what the badge means. Sure, have him call me. Mr. Whitman waves gratitude, continues his walk. Vanessa squeezes Jordan's hand. You're making a difference, one person at a time. It's slow, all real changes. Jordan's mind drifts to his internal monologue, the one he carries constantly now. I carry a badge openly now, proudly. But I remember what it felt like to not have that protection, to be judged by skin before character, to be seen as threat instead of neighbor. That's the burden millions carry every day. They don't have federal authority. They don't have headlines. They have resilience, dignity, and hope that maybe the world will change. So I'll keep doing this work, not for glory, not for recognition, but because every person deserves to swim in their own pool without fear. Every person deserves to walk their own neighborhood without suspicion. Every person deserves justice. That's not radical. It's just right. Jordan stands, walks to the pool edge, takes a breath, dives in. Clean arc, barely a splash. Underwater, everything is quiet, peaceful, the chaos of the world muted by crystal blue water. When he surfaces, his daughter is laughing, his wife is smiling, and the sun is setting over a community slowly learning to be better. It's not perfect, but it's progress. And sometimes progress is enough. If Jordan Ellis's story moved you, you're not alone. Every day, people face bias, assumptions, and injustice without federal badges to protect them. But change isn't just about one man's victory. It's about all of us choosing to see differently. Speak up boldly and demand better. Should officers who abuse their power face permanent consequences? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe in accountability, hit that subscribe button so you never miss stories where justice wins. Sometimes the most powerful revolutions don't come with noise, just one person standing their ground. We highlight those moments that shift the balance. If this story moved you, hit subscribe because every week we bring real stories that shake the system.